Welcome and hello everybody, my name is KingStix and today I want to talk to you about Fiddlesticks and where he stands in patch 7.6. So jungle Fiddlesticks has been in a really weird spot for some time now. So when I heard about Fiddlesticks receiving buffs in 7.6, I was really excited until I actually read the buffs. After I read them, I knew it really wasn't going to do that much for Fiddlesticks. All it was increasing his Q range, his Terrify by 50, which really isn't that great. It makes a little bit of a difference when someone's auto-attacking you. You can pretty much fear anybody, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. And with the Drain, it did get buffed so that when a target dies, by the end of the channel, the remaining duration is applied to the cooldown reduction. In theory, this sounds really useful, but in a team fight, you'll almost never even use this. And whenever you're clearing, you don't have enough mana to be able to use this. Your Drain costs so much mana that if you were to do this, let's say on a Raptor camp, you'd go through all of your mana just using it a couple of times. So it really doesn't help him that much. So I've played Fiddlesticks a couple of times just to figure it out if it was a pretty big buff or not. And as I thought, it really wasn't. My success was mild, even though I knew what I was doing. Fiddlesticks just lacks in a lot of areas. Right now he's just weak in so many areas. He has a 47.5% win rate, which is really bad. He's the 29th highest win rate jungler right now, which really isn't very good. An important thing to note is the top 10 junglers right now have win percent all above 51%. And if you look at Fiddlesticks in the jungle, you might think, oh, he's a late game champ. His ultimate, he does lots of damage and he's got his fear, so he's going to be really good at shutting down carries. That's actually not true. If you look at games, the longer games go, Fiddlesticks actually gets quite a bit worse. And I'm going to go over some of the reasons why. Fiddlesticks has really marginal 1v1s. Even if they have no crowd control and you're both equally fed, Fiddlesticks' Drain is so weak that there's a good chance your opponent can 1v1 you if they play it right. Even if they don't have any CC to stop your Drain just doesn't do that much damage in general, which by itself isn't that big of a deal. But if you keep looking, Fiddlesticks' kit really doesn't even synergize that well either. Fiddlesticks' fear counters his Drain and his ultimate. Fiddlesticks' ultimate and Drain both require him to stand still, and his fear makes his target move away from him. His kit doesn't synergize with itself. One of the biggest reasons why Fiddlesticks falls off so hard late game is there's so many items that completely make Fiddlesticks useless, because the only way Fiddlesticks can hurt you if he fears you, which will slow you down a little bit, so that way he can Drain and get off his ult on you. But there's so many items like with Edge of Night, Mercurial Scimitar, which make it impossible for Fiddlesticks to kill an AD carry late game. The AD carry can solo that Fiddlesticks, as they can immediately cleanse his fear with their Mercurial Scimitar, or if they already have Edge of Night up, there's nothing you can do. Not to mention that, but most mid laners will take Cleanse and end up getting an Hourglass or a Banshee's Veil. So when you're playing Fiddlesticks, you can't kill the mage on the enemy team, you can't kill the AD carry, so you're really left just struggling late game once everyone has their items essentially. Not only that, but there's so many spells that negate Fiddlesticks' fear. There's too many to go over, but like Morgana's Black Shield, Olaf's ult, Alistar's ult, and there's honestly just a lot that I just don't really want to get into. Fiddlesticks also struggles greatly with clearing in the jungle. He has really marginal clears in the jungle, which is kind of sad considering he's a jungle character. His jungle clears are, I wouldn't say they're slow, but they're also not fast. They're kind of in the middle low area. And he just runs out of mana really quickly. Once your Drain's level 2 or 3, once you drain a camp twice and throw a Dark Winds, that's pretty much a little over half of your mana pool. Another thing that why Fiddlesticks struggles so much in the mid game and the late game, his ultimate is on such a high cooldown, it forces you to prioritize building cooldown reduction over magic penetration. You can't really build that much magic penetration on Fiddlesticks, because if you don't get enough CDR, you won't even be able to use your ultimate and your spells that often. There's a few things I think that can be done to help balance Fiddlesticks rather than just adding more damage to his Drain or his ultimate or making his fear last longer. I think those are kind of bandage patches, and those are the kind of things that are just going to make him OP or make him just not good. They've been tweaking Fiddlesticks for so long, and he's just been ass for so long, basically since season 5. Right at the end of season 5, he's just pretty garbage. Here are a few ideas I have for improving Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks' ult doesn't synergize at all with his fear. His fear just pushes them away out of Fiddlesticks' ult. So I think that could have some synergy by making Fiddlesticks' fear last longer on a target who's in his ultimate. So if Fiddlesticks fears somebody when Fiddlesticks is on his ult, that target, that instead of it being like a 2-second fear, it could be like a 3-second fear. Or if they're in Fiddlesticks' ult and Fiddlesticks fear them, it can reduce magic resist, which would also be really nice for Fiddlesticks. Another really cool change they could do to synergize Fiddlesticks' ult and his fear would be whenever Fiddlesticks ult, his fear becomes AoE. So if he fears someone who's right next to another person who's in his ult, it would fear them as well. Another really cool thing they could do to make drain and fear synergize well is to either drop magic resist when Fiddlesticks is draining somebody, or to decrease the cooldown on the drain when Fiddlesticks is fearing something that he's draining. There's no benefit from fearing something in the jungle. It takes so much mana and you're not really doing anything. The fear does 0 damage to the monster. For Fiddlesticks' passive, it doesn't really make any sense. His passive name is Dread, and it speeds them up. So that honestly makes no sense to me, but I do think it is good with Fiddlesticks' kick. He really does need a speed up or something to help him be a little bit more mobile. One change I would really like them to make is Fiddlesticks' fear itself. You never see Fiddlesticks jungle mains maxing fear second. If you max fear second, your clears are like the slowest clear in the game because your Dark Winds doesn't do anything. The way you play Fiddlesticks is you gotta max W first, Dark Wind second, and fear last. Of course, taking fear at level 4 or level 3. Because if you don't max Dark Wind second, dude, your clears are just crazy crappy. I would really like it if fear had a build-up effect. So theoretically, your fear would only be 1 second no matter what, unless you'd previously drained a target for an X amount of seconds. So let's say for each second of drain, that would add a second up to 4 seconds onto your fear. So your fear could potentially be 4 seconds if you drained an enemy champion for X amount of seconds. Or adding fear time, like I said, to his ultimate would also be nice. But with Fiddlesticks' fear, it's hard to balance since it's always a flat amount of 225 at level 5. It just seems very awkward to balance. There's very little counterplay to it, and it's also very weak in the mid and late game since everyone just basically has an item to completely counter it, and which makes Fiddlesticks utterly useless. It'd also be really nice if Fiddlesticks' fear would actually slow them. Like, I understand it's supposed to push them away because they're afraid, but if they have Storm Raid or Surge or a slow resistance, they run away so fast it completely counters their W in your ult. So like, why does Fiddlesticks have a spell that completely counters 2 of his other spells? It doesn't make any sense. Those are a few of my ideas what they could do to help balance Fiddlesticks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys think Fiddlesticks is broken, or if you think he's balanced, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, drop a like, and I'll see you guys next video.